This is Brace for Impact. I'm John Ford. Hopefully, you're listening to this because someone who likes you a lot sent you something fun to listen to, which I have no idea if that's what we're going to achieve or not. I'm here with the whole group. We are kind of going through rapid pre-call, talking about all the different things going on. Apparently, there was a new study on pain and how we deal with pain, and they discovered that none of the treatments that they were finding effective in these studies were useful on women because none of the studies were done on women. And it turns out women handle
typical.
Yeah, right. They handle cytokines differently, and they can be like more prolonged responses, and these go on.
Women handle pain differently than men.
Yeah, I was.
Who'd have thought?
Wow, I'm really gonna get it right now, aren't I? I found it really interesting amidst all the long COVID treatments and looking at all these treatments that rheumatoid arthritis treatments, which is pain in your joints, is essentially just cytokine suppressants. Like, it just suppresses two specific cytokines. And you're like, yeah. I was like, wow. Well, so that's just an obvious, we know what the problem is. We know exactly what the problem is. And they're just going to suppress it. We're not going to, like...
Maybe we can go after it with the treatment? I don't know.
Well, I mean, technically, it's
what
suppressants are a
frustrates me,
treatment. I mean... What's that?
What frustrates me, one of the many things that frustrates me about JFK and Trump in the public health arena is we are just barely starting to do studies on women. You know, we've never have. All the studies have always been done on men because women have these hormones and cycles and just messes up our nice clean study. So and they were just starting to realize that and starting to do studies on women as well when Trump made sure that we cut the word woman out of every study there.
Yeah.
Not allowed to say woman anymore. That's DEI. Sorry, gals.
Well, it's actually, I think, a real shocking element of this is how that's the standard status quo, like in so many ways, kind of quietly. You know what I mean? Because we're doing all this data, we're doing all these studies, and even though women are included in the outcomes, they're not being included properly in the actual testing pools. And I feel like they would be like, you'd be more likely to get inconclusive results with the complexity, but at the same time, it's like, but don't you need to figure out that complexity and get conclusive results? Like, I don't understand that. Well, it's good enough for men, and that's always been the quiet. It's like Trump is just saying the quiet part out loud now.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it's I'm not trying to make the guys a total trash heap, but becoming more of a trash heap every day with the sore on his neck coming in. So
what the heck was that?
I was saying during pre-call, I think they have him on a new medication, and his shirts are getting tighter. So a lot of those heart medications make your neck swell up. So, like, if he is...
They make a lot of things swell up. That's why and his ankles, too.
Right.
But not the one thing that he would like to swell up. That won't swell up.
No. Oh, boy. No. So...
Maybe it's the more war crimes that you commit. You start looking like the undead.
No. We know that's not true.
No, that's Stephen Miller.
Yeah, no, we know that's not true.
A lot of ghouls up there in this administration.
They all look just so pale. So even when we got a glimpse through Trump's makeup the other day, and it was just like you could just see that pale line of around where the makeup was. It was I don't know. Anyways, well, I mean, there's a lot to be pale about because we decided to go to war. I mean, a lot has happened since the last call. I feel like Thursday feels like we were just barely dealing with the fallout of the Paramount Warner Brothers Netflix issue and the talk of maybe going to war, and now we assassinated the Ayatollah. Have we, has one group, this is Israeli attackers, we're just calling it a joint mission, like on the Ayatollah and all those commanders that got killed in that leadership meeting, like that was, and in the midst of this whole Anthropic AI for military purposes, like all this stuff kind of happening over the weekend, like it's just like, I feel like the day after the bombings of the war, I really felt like I woke up in like a different world. Like I felt like I woke up, I don't know how anyone else felt about it, but I haven't had the feeling that I had
Definitely.
since 9/11. Like when
Yeah.
9/11 happened, and I remember sitting in chair I had at the time, just watching the towers fall over and over and over again because it's all they played all day for several days, and that just like dread of like this is really going to change things, and I feel like this has the same. I had the same feeling.
Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, I woke up I don't know what time it was when a Friday night, I guess, but I had already saw that interview from the Omani foreign minister that was on Face the Nation, where he was explaining he was the mediator in the nuclear talks that were going on, that turned out to be kind of a ruse to kill time as we built up our military presence over there to do this war of aggression against Iran. But yeah, that clip of that Omani foreign minister basically laid out like they were giving us such a good deal, much better than the JCPOA that Obama negotiated in 2015, that Trump himself tore up in 2018 in his first term. So it's just like backwards world. And this really does change everything. So I get what you're saying about 9/11.
There's also a scary thing happening with AI and tracking that I feel like is kind of quietly being missed. That's being quietly kind of missed. Did you hear about the unrelated but related to the topic I'm bringing up here? The Mexican here in Mexico, where the Mexican drug lord got killed. And then they lit fire at a huge. It was a busy week. Lit fire to just a ton of stuff, just burned everything down. And I haven't really followed up on that because we started an illegal war with Iran and killed its leadership, which I just still can't really. Process.
Yeah, I had a friend down there though. He was down there for a vacation in Puerto Vallarta, and he ended up getting trapped in his hotel.
Right. So like, it is pretty bad. Still is. But the thing was how they got him was they were tracking his girlfriend, and they tracked her to his like mountain location, and then they sent in troops and like chased him through the jungle and got him. So at least that's the story. And when you think about Maduro in Venezuela, they were using AI tracking to track everywhere he was going and all these things and where he was and all this sort of stuff. And then with the Ayatollah and all these guys, been tracking them, following them around. It's like we've crossed a threshold with our satellite usages that we only used to see in movies, right? We used to see, it would, what was that? Enemy of the State, the Will Smith movie, Will Smith and Gene Hackman, right? They had this shot.
Great movie,
yeah. When they would pull up, and they would like track him moving everywhere. And that's what the Anthropic AI is doing. That's what the Claude. They're using satellites and tracking like people for like weeks and days at a time with computers. And this is a threshold we're crossing that for military applications that is terrifying. And it's been like, because now you could like track protest. You could track a whole protest home from the sky, unless you use like a subway. But even if you use a subway or some underground, you can still track that and just look for the thing at the same time that it's a computer. It works instantly. You know what I mean? It doesn't, like, even as a human, if I had to do that, I could do it. The computer could do it way, way quicker. So it's like tracking people and like where they go, and like the ability to track and surveil human beings has crossed a very dangerous and scary threshold, and it is in the hands of very scary and dangerous people. And that's why I think Anthropic.
Everybody's being surveilled all the time. We've got little flock cameras out there, and
yeah, but now they're actually using it the way that we're afraid of. Like, whether or not they could the whole time, now they're actually using it. And then when you think about, like, you got vacuum robots, and there was a guy in, where was he? I don't know where he was. He's basically trying to mod his vacuum so he could control it with his PS5 controller, and he hacked the machine and accidentally got access to 70,000 robots and all their cameras.
In multiple countries, right?
I don't know the details. We could look this up.
I think it was multiple countries too.
So
the Roomba wasn't good enough for that guy. He needed something stronger. Like what was the?
He just wanted to manually control it. He just wanted the ability to have it like it wasn't getting. I don't know. He wanted to use his PS5 controller to control it. So he was trying to hack into it to do it, and he, their access data stuff is so loosely done, just fiddling around with it with basic tools, he was able to access the entire network of vacuum cleaners.
That's the whole problem with every appliance being a smart appliance.
Yeah. Don't worry, the ads won't be that bad. The ads are every smart appliance and everything on the planet that exists like this is because they're trying to put ads on it. That's the only reason. They're always it's like this or that, or it's for this reason. No, it's so they can sell you ads. 100% ads. All ads. So, yeah, of course it is.
But I think killing the Ayatollah probably wasn't as high tech as that other stuff, because he was at home. He's an 86-year-old guy.
Yeah,
and Mossad has really infiltrated Iran. They have a lot of people on the ground in Iran, have for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So they martyred him. This is probably something that if he was going to go out at 86, this is probably a way that he might have wanted to go out in a weird way.
Exactly, and we never get that.
Right.
Throughout history, there's nothing more dangerous than a martyr.
Mm-hmm.
I said something similar during the pre-call, and I feel like it's this war has gone to a new complicated level, and it just is. It's certainly not like it was, and that's just something that I think you need to take into effect. We've already lost American service people. I don't like that. I don't like that we're 100 and so many girls died at that school. Just the number is kind of staggering. Actually, I have it right. 165, which is that's a lot of families. That's a lot of people, and it's so typical of we've seen this with all of these Israeli-led attacks through all these other countries, where targeting children is constantly oopsie. But the thing is if you want to create fighters to be against you, kill their kids.
Yeah.
It's if you kill my kids, I have no idea what length I would go to. You know what I mean? I have no idea. That's why they make movies about it. John Wick did it over a dog.
And Herzog was on the president of Israel was on one of the shows this weekend, and he was asked about the school bombing, and he said, I don't know anything about that. But then he felt the need to sort of interject that, well, the thing is about jihadists is that they keep their weapons amongst the population. So,
You know what? Israel does too.
They do?
Yeah, a lot of times they do.
That was actually what we learned. We didn't learn that for absolute when we knew it, but the absolute certain was when the first bombings from Iran were hitting, and the sites, the interceptor sites, are next to apartment buildings. So which makes sense. They should be on the roof of the apartment buildings. They should be, if you're doing interceptors. But to say it's not. Oh, we're so civilized, we don't do that, but you absolutely do, and they're uncivilized for doing that. And you're
yeah,
but you're all doing it. All the things that they claimed was happening in Gaza were just well, we do this there, so we assume they're doing it here. It was ridiculous.
He's trying to invoke that human shield nonsense.
Yeah,
and it's gross.
You got to aim around them. It's oh, the weapons are around the civilians. Okay, yeah, so you would just kill the civilians. It's the guy took a baby hostage. Shoot through the baby.
Right.
That's their logic. I don't get it. I do see like they were talking about. They had the war minister at one of the sites got hit because Israel's getting hit pretty hard. It's talking about we don't target schools, and a reporter on the ground was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, like right to his face as he was trying to create his propaganda. The guys there to film it is like, "Are you like really? You that's not Gaza's flat. You targeted everything. It's flat."
Your prime minister is wanted for war crimes. I think he said that directly to him.
And he's just like, oh my goodness. On one hand, it's like I hate all this. It's still very silver lining is like watching the propaganda fail. And now you got Marco Rubio and Netanyahu sparring on different interviews between whether or not whose idea it was to attack what. Rubio's saying it was. Israel kind of forced their hand. He seems kind of ticked off about it all. Not defending Rubio, just saying what I saw. And then Netanyahu is like, of course we didn't force America's hand. Of course, Donald Trump is the strongest president ever or something. He's doing what's right for America, which is quite the line. But sounds to me like Israel, like Israel forced America's hand again. And then apparently they're also bombing. What was it? Lebanon. They've been doing more. It's just like, oh my goodness. And then we've managed to just completely destabilize the Middle East, which is...
Yeah, they're trying to cover up. This is a war of aggression, and it's against the UN Charter. It's against the Constitution. It's against international law. It's against the Geneva Convention. Well, actually, the Geneva Convention's after you go to war. It's for the rights of the civilians. But, so it's not actually... Well... The bombing of the school.
It's nuanced. I get it. No one take Jesse to task over his Geneva Convention statement, please.
But yeah, I mean, it was in the Nuremberg trials. They actually called war of aggression the supreme international crime because it encompasses all the other crimes by starting a war that it was unnecessary and was unprovoked. And that's exactly what they're trying to both Rubio and Netanyahu run away from right now. But, you know, so we've let people get away with all these crimes for so long. It seems like, oh, this is just like another day. We're allowed to just, attack whoever we want.
Yeah, but, that's kind of what I was thinking about today. It's like what's stopping them from just like bombing Americans at their homes if they wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, we just did that. And like, what are you going to do? They're dead. We bombed them.
This is the problem with abandoning all international law and all accountability and all laws. We just end up in barbarism.
Yep.
So we have to get through this and hold them accountable and finally, set a historical record like they did at the Nuremberg trials.
I hate that like we're in a place where like everything's so bad that. Well, obviously, I hate that this is bad, but like we've got midterms coming up, and we got all these elections going on, and primaries are starting like today. I think they started today, and just the bar for like being a good candidate to win your primary is just holding bad people accountable for the bad things they actually did. You know what I mean? There are so many things we need. That like the bar has just gotten just straight into hell. We're playing limbo with it. It's gotten so bad, so quickly that you're not even like talking about like single payer or any of these other important things that we need. It's just like we're not even near that. We're like so far in the other direction. On the other hand, I do feel like there has been more talk about that because the worse things get, the more people are like, well, let's just rebuild the whole system.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say one more thing about the whole war of aggression thing, because the reason why Netanyahu and Rubio are going back and forth with passing the buck here, the reason why that all started, because I don't think we talked about this, is that the Pentagon actually came out with a statement this morning saying that there was no imminent threat from an attack first from Iran. So that's what kind of started this. The Pentagon said it. So there is no basis in what either these idiots are saying and war criminals. That's it.
Yeah, I heard that admission too.
Yeah.
It's a
I
lot.
think this is an inflection point, though. I was saying that before on the pre-call. People are really having a hard time. Things have gotten so much worse for the average American. They can't get jobs, they can't afford housing, they can't afford food, and to spend billions more dollars on yet another war, I think people may really snap this time.
Yeah, and the big beautiful bill will take hold and start throwing people off their Medicare, and they're going to see all this money flying out the door for war.
Literally flying. I think 3 of our fighters got shot down today. How many billions is that?
Yep.
Friendly fire, by the way. I know at least I've seen videos of at least 2 of the pilots being picked up by locals. And maybe 2 were standing, and a third one they needed to like get them to a hospital. It was oddly wholesome. But yeah, I know, lots of money. Those don't usually get shot down, so oops.
And Iran stuff is pretty cheap.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
equipment that they are using.
Well, okay, so they got this strategy, and you've probably seen a lot of people say it, where basically they flood they flood everything with like cheap, inexpensive, not that effective rockets, right? They just launch as many as they can. Then they once the systems are overwhelmed, then they hit the hypersonics. So the hypersonics cannot be like, they maybe could with like are expensive, really expensive ones, like the things that launch off, but they're really fast. They live like 6-7 minutes or something like that. Like they make that they make it really fast. So super hard to intercept, and once you've blown all the interceptors, they're reloading. They hit them with the things. So that's what they've been doing, and they're gonna. I mean, the thing is I feel like whenever you're dealing with these like older, powerful people like the Ayatollah, there is a like restrained nature with them when it comes to this type of stuff, where they're like, well, let's wait and see just a little bit longer. Like killing him kind of like took the control, like the only person who had control over everyone out of the picture.
We don't know what will happen next.
Yeah, well, you're more likely just to have more angry and more extreme and more violent people take over, usually.
And nobody's going to trust the U.S. anymore.
Which they shouldn't.
We have no credibility.
This US. No, absolutely not. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that whoever is the next president have to rebuild, like, trust with everyone and all this sort of stuff. It's just going to be... It reminds me a lot of, like, when George Bush... When Obama took over for George Bush, and then Obama was running around trying to, like, fix everyone's relationships.
They gave him a Nobel Prize just because he wasn't George W. Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is still weird. Still weird. It was weird. That was.
And we thought it couldn't get any worse back then. During George W. Bush, that is.
Yeah, well, if there's one thing I've learned about life, it can always get worse. Never challenge that it can never get worse, because, oh boy, can it. Oh boy.
Yeah, I heard somebody talking about the weapons today, and they were saying that I forget who it was, but they were saying that some of our missiles that are going after the Iranian drones are like $50,000, and our missiles are like $1 million. So we're shooting like $1 million missile at a $50,000 drone to get it.
There you go.
Yeah, I heard even less than that, and that's where they're like, and it's such a good example of how Iran is set up, like from its mountainous region to the ocean, how like it's a huge country, like you can't like invade or have a ground war there. You'd lose, even with all of our tech and all of our stuff. There's too many people, and there's too much stuff, and just, like we don't have that many bombs. That was actually kind of the interesting thing about, and the horrible thing to learn about watching Gaza get destroyed, is how much damage like our conventional weapons actually do. It's a lot, but it's also not a lot when you compare it to a city, and how many bombings and bombs it took to like level Gaza is an astounding amount of ammunition. That was like, even if you were like for this, someone has to be looking at the cost ratio to like want to achieve that and how much money they're spending. Like it's so much money, and it doesn't really go that far.
Meanwhile, Granny just got kicked out of the nursing home due to the Medicaid cuts.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It's just such an ineffective way to do what you want to do in every way. It's not only is it evil and wrong and shouldn't happen, but let's say you are evil and wrong. I assume you'd want to do for all the. Why don't we have austerity and war? You know what I mean? We got austerity and everything else except war. You know, like there's definitely there's a song in there somewhere.
Well, Congress holds the purse string, so they can begin that process that they really believed in, not fighting this criminal war.
I don't think the government seems big on fighting criminals right now.
Yeah, just look at the thing they're covering up as a distraction.
Yeah, we're really doing all of this because Trump wants everyone to stop talking about the Epstein files. Is that what's happening? That's why Israel's like, no, of course we didn't force our hand. Trump wanted to stop talking about the Epstein files.
Operation Epstein
I
Fury.
think he likes war. He thinks it's fun and cool.
Yeah.
He's a psychopath.
He's like being edgelord about it and stuff. It's like, yeah, I don't need it.
He also thinks like he can just, kill a bunch of people or kill the head of the country and just leave, and he won.
Yeah.
Well,
Doesn't.
He did say he was going to take over Greenland, and then he decided he wasn't going to take over Greenland, and that he's actually just going to send them a medical boat, and then it turns out that medical boat is not going to Greenland because it doesn't have icebreakers attached to it. So nothing happened with Greenland. Oh, no, sorry. We made all of Europe mad at us. That happened.
Yeah.
That I forgot. That part occurred.
And then turn towards Venezuela and Iran.
Right. I just, I can't get over the Greenland thing because, and we were talking about this earlier, but I feel like, it's like if you don't know maps, world maps are not actually accurate. They're all made by a lunatic who can't tell the size of things. I don't know what's up with our maps, but it's basically trying to make white countries look bigger and everyone else look smaller. But consequently, Greenland is enormous on a map. If you look at a map of the world, you'll see Greenland is humongous. But when you look at a map that shows their actual size, Greenland is very, very small. It is big, but it's still not like as big as they make it seem like it's the whole size of America with Canada. Like they make it seem like it's this. I can't help but feel Trump is looking at this thing, being like, "Look at that huge piece of land. Why don't we have that?" Why don't we have that piece of land? And it's not real. It's not there. It's ice, and it's called Greenland to trick you. Iceland has the green stuff.
I guess putting women in studies and making maps represent the actual size of things is woke.
Yeah, no, that's not a joke. That is literally, those things are literally considered woke to these people. That is literally. Nailed it. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't. It's like woke is like. Seems like it's code for like, oh, you're so stupid. You don't like oppressing people? What's wrong with you? That's what all the anti-woke people sound like to me. It's just like, oppression is, woke is anti-oppression. Like anything that doesn't allow me to oppress people, too woke.
Yeah.
Like, oh boy. Now that we've seen the Kid Rock and RFK, what the world they want to see looks like, I definitely feel like we should do more to stop that. Or we'll all be drinking milk in grottos before we know it. Oh my god. I never want to see Kid Rock without a shirt on again. It's burned. It's burned into my memory for some reason.
Or RFK for that matter.
I just want to know why he wears his jeans everywhere, in everything, into the pool, into the bathtub, into the thing. He's like a robot legs or something like that. Skipped leg day. He likes to hide it. I don't know what is going on there. So much weird stuff. And then at the same time, we got this CDC, FDA. Don't worry, everybody, because the CDC is going to look for a permanent director, which has gone so well. How about you bet the Surgeon General fails and she's then put up for the CDC director? Or she's like Surgeon General and CDC director, right? Is that what they're going to do? Get her through something?
Oh, yeah, with the Surgeon General right now. I kind of lost track.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot going on. There's been a lot happening. Yeah, no, the Surgeon General, I don't think there's been news.
I don't think we've seen any news on that.
I don't think we've seen anything.
It was just those undecided and the two Republicans that were really undecided.
I mean, they seem like they might be busy.
They probably put that on the back burner.
Right. Well, Tim, so there's two war powers resolutions in one in the Senate and one in Congress. So there's the Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie one that's going to be put forth on Thursday, and then the Tim Kaine is actually putting another one forward on Wednesday in the Senate. So that number I keep saying, call it.
Right, you want to say that number one more time?
Oh yeah, I should probably. It's 1833 Stop War, and it just kind of walks you through the process. You put in your zip code once you get on there, and you get connected to your representatives consecutively. So it'll give you your congressperson and then your two senators right in a row in one phone call. So it's really easy to do, and just tell them to vote yes on this War Powers resolution, because we really need to get all these people on record as like, and really this is just like, he needs to come to Congress and like follow the Constitution.
Yeah, that is in the Constitution. That's how it's supposed to work.
Well, yeah. In a sane world, which we don't live in at the moment, this would be the beginning of like true impeachment stuff, right? Like,
absolutely,
this would be because he's like, once he defies Congress, the Congress, that's their only position, right? Is to come back and be like, hey, well, you're now Republicans. These are all Democrat-led war power bills,
except for the congressional one is bipartisan. Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna.
Yeah, but how bipartisan? Because Thomas Massie is not bipartisan alone. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, are there other Republicans signing on to that bill yet? Because that's the whole thing with Thomas Massie. It's like,
yeah,
he's
sort of an outlier as far as Republicans go. So I don't know the support that he has on the Republican side. There were a couple of Democrats who called it like the Ayatollah bill, which was pretty gross. But
well, no, a few Republicans are calling for it. Now I fixed my computer so I can actually like use it while we're on the calls, as long as my internet doesn't drop out on me, which it almost did about 10 minutes in. But doing good now. But I can now look these things up while we're talking, so we don't go, I don't know, we'll think about it on Thursday. Basically, war power resolutions. There are a couple of Republicans. I think this could very well. Oh God. John Fetterman plans to vote against it. A few Democrats vote against it. I just think this would be like the beginning of the holding Trump accountable and removing him from office. You know, this is the beginning of that sort of like in earnest.
Yeah.
You know, I think that this is where, in a sane world,
right.
This is where it would begin, the beginning of the end. But we'll see.
I hope that, once things change hands, well, hopefully they change hands after midterms and stuff like that. I hope that Democrats finally do accountability
Yeah.
and start
They're
impeachment.
done. They're done. I mean, this is ridiculous.
If they don't do it,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's being delivered to them on a silver platter. All these crimes, and then there's the Epstein files.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So yeah. So reading up on the War Power Resolution, Kana and Massey, two Democrats, Josh Gottheimer and Jared Muskowski, they had initially expressed their opposition to the resolution.
Those are the ones who called it the Ayatollah bill, right?
Maybe I don't see that quote here, but they're just referred to as close allies to Israel in this Hill article.
Muskowski is from Florida.
Yeah, he is. He is in Florida, and definitely a familiar face. And they're voting, and Democrats would need like a certain this is almost certainly going to get shot down unless Republicans cross over, because it can't go anywhere without Republican votes. So
this really should not be partisan. This is just saying, please follow the law and the Constitution.
Yeah, but these
of course
guys
it will be, because everything is now.
But these guys only follow the Constitution when it benefits them. As soon as it's in the way of what they want.
Yep.
The first initial polls came out on this, and it was like 74% of Democrats are against the attacking Iran. But it was
Republicans are.
I'm trying to find that poll because I remember the Democrat number. It was I think it was 44%, because there's also a I don't know option in the poll, so it's not like a 50-50 thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Polling,
but it's not popular.
Yeah, that big polling firm was no longer going to do, for 80 years of doing presidential polling. They weren't going to do polling anymore. You just can't trust polling the way you used to. It's weird. We were watching The American President last night. Right, it's a great movie. My wife was watching it, and the polling was such an important part of the story. Oh, this person, this is down, this is up, this is down. We won't help you because your polling isn't good enough. And it's just such a reminiscent of when that stuff mattered. And it was useful because it was we're trying to make the American people happy. But now they don't run politics on the basis of what the American people want. They run the basis of what their, donors or super powerful corporate bosses or whatever want. And it's just, we've lost complete, the corporate oligarchy aspect is the priority of the person in the White House is no longer making the American public happy. It's doing whatever they want.
Yeah, this is a Reuters Ipsos poll, and it was all adults. It was 43% are against it, 30% don't know, and 27% said yes.
27% of Democrats were for it?
No, this was all adults. This is
okay.
All Republicans and Democrats and others. So, but Republicans alone, 55% were yes, 32% no, and 13% were no. But Democrats were 74% against. So,
man, that just really comes down to what type of media you're ingesting. You know what I mean? That's the other thing is you're dealing with God, the media giants have gotten so out of control with feeding their message, and it's about to get a lot worse too with Paramount Warner Brothers thing happening because of CNN is in Discovery.
Yeah.
So Paramount getting their hands on CNN. There's a lot of talk that the deal might not go through, and now states I feel there's a lot more resistance to this deal than there was the Netflix and Warner Brothers deal. But
as there should be.
As there should be. Yeah, there should be the whole time. Apparently, remember how I said there was a disinformation campaign that was going full tilt? Apparently, it was Sarandos, whatever the guy from Netflix, was saying these guys got to get paid by the press release because it was just non-stop noise. This and that, and James Cameron, and all these things, and it was all kind of built up nonsense to make people against the deal. Just the publicity, and it was like I was trying to explain to people that that's what was happening, and they couldn't. Why does it have to be some thing? Why can't it be? No, we literally know they're doing it. We literally know. We literally know that this is all publicists. Stupid, but you don't really change the whole game. It kind of gave itself away. Was the whole what's his name? The guy Ryan Reynolds' wife was suing that Bologna guy or whatever his name. Someone's gonna get mad at me because it's such a touchy subject. Guy I hate. I'm so sick of hearing about their story. But he put a bunch of money into publicists, and they just created such a mess about so many things. It was just like, it's interesting seeing how these publicists create whole sections of the internet because they come in with a desired point. They use influencers. They boost those influencers so those points become more popular, and then that then is then popular because now it's been boosted to be popular. The algorithm thinks it's popular, and people repeat that content and create that content because it's popular. It's getting a lot of interactions or upvotes or whatever you want to call them, depending on where you are. And so it's interesting how like these publicists create these messes that just kind of like outlive the publicity deal. You know what I mean? Like they kind of go on forever because it just becomes popular, and then it's a thing.
They created a media monster.
Yeah, it's wild, and so it's kind of like now that way of manipulating social media with like fake accounts or paid for influencers is now just such a thing that it's amazing how quickly it can just create, again, such a mess.
Yeah, media consolidation is dangerous. The printing press falls into the wrong hands. No telling what could happen.
Yeah. My family...
Actually, the CBS thing, we can kind of tell what happens.
Yeah, Barry White. They're going to Barry Weiss it. Yeah, that was the thing. People are like arguing that they won't do that. I'm like, but they already did do it. It already happened.
And she's already wrecked the news division in 60 Minutes.
They're all leaving.
Yeah.
Well, and she's like terrible at her job, and they don't care. They don't care because it doesn't matter if their content is good. All that matters is it's not releasing content that is antithetical to their interests. So, like, it doesn't have to be good. It just has to not be this other thing. And that I also find very disturbing. We just don't have, anyone on the left. We don't. Maybe we have them and they want to prove otherwise. But we don't have anyone on the left who has, like, money and wants to spend it on the left. You know what I mean? Like as far as, like, improving things. And this is something a lot of content creators talk about where, like, you're trying to make something to, like, make things better. You have to do, like, small dollar funding. You got to reach all this stuff. Getting big grants is really hard. But, like, the right has 1 million billionaire donors just ready, probably, several hundred, ready to drop, big dollars on people who are willing to sell out their interests for the riches, for the, the billionaires' benefit.
There's really not as much money to be made off of the left. Like if we got everybody healthcare, like what is that leftist to put the money forward for the media campaign get out, except for like a pat on the back?
There's no investment. Well, I've tried in our own proposal, like to try to have a spin where like it could make money if it operated certain ways. So like things could become profitable when you're trying to reach people, but at the same time, you still need that raw investment to get the ball going. You need that big chunk to like make it happen. Like what do you say when you have a business, the first 3 years you can't expect to turn profit. So even if you wanted to have some aspect of like this huge plan that actually did make money, you would still need it funded for 2 to 3 years to get that ball rolling. So you're looking at, even then you would need some kind of like startup capital. And you can try to overlap that, but then the problem is you overlap with too many things. People are like, well, you have too many things going. It just doesn't seem like it's focused. You should do one thing really well, and you're like, that's not. You can't do one thing really well. You have to kind of do all the things sort of half-assedly. but they all have to be there. And
On the right, with like pro-corporate policy, there's a lot of people that can make money along the way if they invest in stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, if I had like money to invest in the stock market or something like that, I suppose you could make all this stuff profitable. But I don't, so I'm not. As always, people are always like, "You're just investing in Novavax stock," and I'd be like, "Oh my god, no, guys, I'm not investing rich, guys. I'm not." I'm not investing, like I don't know where we got off on the wrong foot, where I'm not save, like it seems like you have like money to live, then you have savings, and then you have investing. Right? I'm not at saving yet. So why would I have investing? Like where did we where do we get off on the wrong? On that note, if you'd like to make a donation to our show, feel free.
Yeah, that was a good plug.
Feel free. I really should be pitching just like getting like a not a GoFundMe, but I cannot remember the words.
Patreon?
Yeah, Patreon for the show, so that people, we do get almost 1,000 listeners occasionally, but like if the show is one consistent unbroken beat without a bunch of issues, and there's more of us talking, the show does pretty well. As far as like live streaming goes and doing no promotion and putting in zero effort, which I don't know, maybe we should do all that. But good news, everyone. Like I said, I did finally figure out why my computer was broken, and it was a bad stick of RAM. I found it. It's sitting right there.
It was about what?
A bad stick of RAM.
Ah.
There are 4 sticks of RAM in it. They're 16 gigs a pop. Way more than I need. And one of them was like popping out errors like whatever pops out a lot. And so it was you got that fixed. So now it's like I can use my computer and it's not having like the random crashes and all sorts of stuff. Basically your computer is constantly sending information back and forth, and then it goes back to check the information's changed. And so it's like, hey, that's not supposed to happen. More or less. That's basically the deal. So my browser tabs aren't crashing anymore. My computer isn't crashing anymore. It did crash once, but I was doing something stupid. Doing stupid things. But it's working a lot better, so I could do more. Hopefully that'll thing. Now we're looking on getting the internet fixed here. It's been consistent tonight. It almost dropped out at one point, but we're looking at new internet, and that'll be when I'll probably start doing a lot more streaming, honestly, one way or another, because it's kind of been a hang up this whole time, so I haven't been able to stream effectively, because it won't stream effectively. So now I was like, screw this, I'm taking it apart, and that's it. It was quick. RAM slot number 3. Anyways, and yes, I did try turning it on and off again. That was not helping. So everything just seems kind of awful. I don't really know what else to say. Everything seems kind of awful. The only kind of silver lining in any of this is related to Novavax, and that's that we did have a meeting with the Sanofi. Me and Polly had a meeting with Sanofi's marketing and part of their science team. I don't know, last November, and we had a huge discussion with them about all the things that everyone says they want to see, and I told them everything. I probably should have charged, honestly, to me. It's probably a real expensive consulting session. But I told them everything, and they've been kind of like following through, because right now there's a new batch of Novavax at CVS's that expires at the end of May, which means we're looking at more of a universal year-round access, which is really what we wanted, because more and more people are using it to sort of like help with it's not a cure for long COVID, because long COVID is a giant, enormous disease, but helping with people with persistent virus and symptoms related to that, and making it so people can access it every 2 months. That was a big thing we did here on the show with working with it. We actually have FDA, because CDC got gutted, the ACIP got gutted. That's a mess. We're not doing any public comment drives, because there's really just no point. They're not looking at it. I know these guys can read. But VRBPAC is most of the same people, except some, like 6 people's contracts were up, so they should get new people in there. But going in and talking to Verpac has always been effective. We're just going to be doing influenza. I signed up for oral comment. We're not doing a push or anything. But it is just it's important that this stay available because even if we're just trying to use it as like a holdover for people while more treatments are worked on, we're getting a pretty good sense on how it like fits into the picture. And at the same time, you're also getting the best protection from COVID available. So it's like one of these, like, if you're doing it every 2 months, you're getting all the benefits of a priming series. You're getting the benefits of the increased antigenic range, which hopefully will clear out some persistence, or at least help your immune system identify and remove it. So there's a lot of benefit here, and it seems like Sanofi is not trying to treat, like, they didn't buy the rights to a seasonal vaccine. They bought the rights to a year-round vaccine. And that was really what I was trying to explain to them more than anything. It's like, this is not a seasonal thing. We don't need this. Just maybe have ads during the seasonal periods, but like, you know, COVID is a year-round problem. People need vaccines year-round for this sort of stuff. And, you know, Novavax doesn't have to get updated as often, so it's just about keeping them. They have 6 months shelf life, so it's like 2 months of production and testing or whatever, and they're on the shelves for about 3 to 4 months if we're lucky. So, I mean, that's good. And so, you know, in the meantime, it's just, I do find it a little toxic that we don't have more people talking about it in that benefit, because so many people, I've seen people on Twitter have Novavax as part of their recovery. They go, oh, I recovered, and then they'll say all these good things about Novavax and getting Novavax, and you're like, okay, yeah, so we need to talk about why you actually recovered so we can replicate it. And a lot of people are kind of all over the place, but you do see this consistent factor where, like, well, I switched to that vaccine, and like 6 months later, I was better. And you're like, well, that's kind of the idea of how this thing works, because it's a saponin-based edge. It's like brand new. This is like cutting edge, brand new effect that like we stumbled on while we were trying to understand the benefits of Novavax. Because it has to do with, like, the theory, and it's my theory, I mean, maybe it's shared, but, like, the way persistence works is the longer the virus is in you, the more it mutates. So your immune response is only keyed at the beginning of your infection. It doesn't, like, get restarted later on. So you're looking at, you know, the virus mutates outside of that immune response, and then there you go, you got persistent virus. It's degenerative, it's doing syncytial formations, it's causing all these problems. So you have to deal with that. And you could be symptomatic or asymptomatic. It's like these people with symptoms are not the totality of long COVID. The people with ME/CFS, the people with all these rare symptoms or less rare symptoms now, this is not the totality of long COVID. Long COVID is the persistence-driven symptoms and the damage caused by the virus. That's pretty much it. Because even when you talk about autoimmunity or antibodies or any of that stuff, that's still viral properties. Those are still like the way, until we disprove there's actual persistence by trying a persistence treatment, you can't say it couldn't be that. Because that's how, like, the concept of how we look at persistence in a medical sense is all wrong, even though it's right in front of our face with things like chickenpox and shingles, though we should just call, like, shingles old chickenpox, right? Or, like, elderly, like, we should refer to it in a way so people know that's persistence of chickenpox in your body. And what's the one, there's a vaccine, they're saying it fights dementia, but it's not aimed at dementia. It's
shingles.
Shingrix.
It is Shingrix. For same thing. So people are getting the shingles vaccine, and we're finding that people are not getting dementia because the persistent chickenpox is giving people dementia. That would be the maybe
the virus giving people dementia.
Yeah. So you're trying to figure out ways to boost your immune system in different ways, and that's what this Matrix M adjuvant has the opportunity to do. So, like, we should be getting it out there so people know that. Like, I don't understand why this is so suppressed in COVID conscious communities, where you're like trying to explain this thing, and I this is why I really feel like it's not about helping people about chronic illness. It's about maintaining like the chronic illness is the point, not the end goal to solve. You know what I mean? It's like the more chronically ill people like push people's social media, so like things that might make them not chronically ill or improve the quality of their life are shunned by those people because it doesn't benefit them to have those people not be chronically ill anymore. The opposite is true. You know what I mean? And I definitely feel that when in my own social media, when like it feels like I'm dealing with a lot of people talking about recovery, and then they're suddenly not around anymore because they're like, I'm living my life, I'm doing my thing. Good, that's what we want. You know what I mean? My social media suffers, but so what? That's the point. Of course, my own mouth doesn't help the social media suffering, but but it's just a real thing that happens, and so we need to be thinking about like solutions and explaining them. So I feel like I'm going to go a little bit more out of my way to try to explain how this works with more sources and resources for people to use and understand, because we really need this to be like a better standard. Now that we know that like Novavax is safe in the sense that the product is with Sanofi, Sanofi appears to be continuing to release it the way we need them to. We're going to be doing an update soon. The Novavax hasn't caught the ire of any of the things. Hopefully we can get pediatric approved. I know we've been talking about that for years now, but like I need it for my kids. Like we need it. So hopefully that can happen. And it's just kind of like that's good, but that means now we need to get the word out to people like this is the thing that does something really, really significant that not only protects you from COVID both before and after an infection. You know what I mean? And so this is I don't know, there's a benefit here that just isn't talked about enough, and it could be helping a lot more people, and it frustrates me that it doesn't seem like that's the interest of so many. You know, they're still trying to like respond to Saturday Night Live skits. Apparently Saturday Night Live made a joke about a long cold and everyone is mad.
Oh really?
Oh, I heard something about that. Yeah.
I haven't seen it myself. I'm sure it was offensive. You know,
I haven't seen it.
But I mean, it's so like, you know, typical.
So what else is new?
Yeah, I know exactly. Gotta remember also, Saturday Night Live is like a bunch of kids. Like the people who are writing this stuff, they aren't like older and experienced. They're literally in their 20s. I said someone in my 40s. I'm like, they're kids. They're still kids. They're gonna say things that are just wrong and offensive. Could be worse. Could be the BAFTAs. Which honestly, I have heard so many. You guys hear about the BAFTAs where there was a racial slur yelled at two black people. But the person has, you know,
Tourette's.
Thank you, honey. Tourette's. And my wife could hear me pause. She was helping me out in the background. Yeah. But I really appreciate that the black community has come out and really held, because at first everyone was like, "Oh, that guy meant it," and it was all like, "Oh, because it looked terrible." But it was about how the BAFTAs had manipulated that person's disability, and they could have blocked and censored it when other people, black people specifically, were censored for the things that they said. So people, they were capable of censoring, and they chose not to censor that. After the guy was like, "Hey, I just want you to know, like, I probably shouldn't be here. This could happen." You know, it's a neurological disease you don't have control of, and
but they did end up censoring somebody who said something about Palestine, right?
Yeah, they censored other people. Yeah, so it was like they were capable of censoring, but they just didn't censor that, and you're just like, so typical British.
Right, they acted like it just came out live, and they couldn't. That's the way they sort of played it off at first.
Right, and it just sounds like they set the guy up to do it. Like they set everyone up. Like it didn't need to happen at all.
So they basically let the N-word fly, but they wouldn't let a statement about.
Well, I mean, whether or not it's on TV or not is irrelevant to the idea that the two actors got, you know, a slur yelled at them from the audience. Like they shouldn't have to go through that. And at the same time, this man who has a disorder, who he warned everyone about, you know, he shouldn't have to go through that, and then the audience shouldn't have to go through that. And it's just like they manipulated the guy's disability to harm people, and then tried to use the publicity that comes with that to make the show more of a show.
It's a cluster all around.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's really, really. I'm just really glad that the black community, because I've seen so many just so intelligent things being said about this, and that's been like the consensus. Like once people figured out what was going on, they were like, "This is completely the fault of the BAFTAs." So, and K-pop Demon Hunters didn't win Best Animated Film, so that automatically they got to go. That's just
It didn't? Wow.
no, it went to Zootopia 2. Wife's back here, feed me lines. Yeah, it went to Zootopia, which was a insanely huge movie. Like Zootopia was an insanely huge movie. It made a crazy amount of money, so I can see why, in that instance, they have no taste or culture because they're British. It's British movie for you. Sorry. I think as a British person, I think I get to make those jokes. Anyways, I'm American, but yeah, it's a lot of British. So yeah,
British comedy's great.
If you like it dry,
I do.
oh yeah, I bet you do. No, so it's just been, it's a rough time. It's a rough time out there for everything. This Trump has war powers for 30 days or 60 days or something like that before he gets in trouble with Congress officially. Isn't there like some sort of thing that he can do stuff for a certain amount of time? So they're talking about the war ending in like 4 to 5 weeks. I don't see
that
I don't
happening.
see Iran being like cool in 4 to 5 weeks.
Unless he just completely drops everything and just, forgets about it.
Yeah,
I don't know how that would go down either.
I really don't see them like letting go of this, killing their supreme.
No.
The guy's name was Supreme Leader.
Yeah, they're not going to let go.
No. They're like, we're gonna
Reuters is reporting an explosion at the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia with smoke visible.
That makes sense. They had another one that the American troops had to shoot people at an embassy. They were like trying to like riot it, kind of heavy duty. There were a lot of people. I think like a couple people died. We're just in such like an unnecessary loss of life stage of humanity. Like we were like, COVID just did something, and I don't mean it mysteriously, we don't know, but it did something to like everyone that we just don't look at death the same. Like it's like we're killing so errantly all of a sudden, and not just like Americans, like humans in general. You know what I mean? You're just like death toll here, death toll there. Oh well, a couple people died. Oh well, a couple people died. Now we've like normalized death so much by letting COVID run rampant that like oh another person died. Oh, and even if people aren't like tying it to COVID, it is the decisions that came along with it that created more dangerous and hostile environments to humans. That it's like now people are desensitized to it, and it's scary.
It feels like it's psychically opened the gates of hell in some weird way.
Well put.
The effect it has on the frontal lobe and empathy, that's got a huge, I think that's got a lot to do with where we are now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what, honestly, my disdain for mRNA goes way back to before we started the group in 2021, when I was trying to explain to everyone, if you take your mask off and you only have mRNA as protection, COVID is gonna fuck up your brains, and it's gonna fuck up the part of your brain that does all this stuff, because that's how it enters your body, is through the part of your brain that manages empathy. And then we did it, and it got worse and worse. Remember all the airplane fights, and then the road rage was up, and it has kind of normalized in the sense that those incidents are down. But, like, it's gotten so much worse in so many other ways, and, like, people are dying just all the time. Even if it is cancer, it's, like, more aggressive cancer. Like, the guy from Grey's Anatomy, his ALS, less than a year from diagnosis to death. I mean, that can happen. That's a horrible disease, but it's like everything is being sped up because if your immune system is dysfunctional, it's like everything hinges on your immune system. I don't know how when you say, oh, it causes, you know, I just like COVID just really showed me that people just either just I don't even know, like just no concept of like reality or threat or risk, because it was like, well, it takes away your sense of smell and taste. Oh, well, that's not so bad. That's 2 out of your 5 senses. You only have 5 things you see the world with. There's a 6th one technically, but that has to do with like how you use your muscles or whatever. But you have 5, and it takes away 2 of them, and people are like, it's not so bad, and you're like, where are you? What planet are you on? You know what I mean? It takes away, it hits the other 3 too. Don't worry about it. But it is like just that people didn't have like that. Oh, I guess it's not so bad. You know, I just lost my sense of smell for like 6 months. And you're like, you couldn't smell for 6 months? And you keep getting these stories of people who can't smell the chicken is rotted, or the house is burning down, or the whatever is going wrong. It just, I don't know. This is just one of those things that like, and then you're talking about, well, it could do this effect on your brain, and just like, I think this is also like, we call it American exceptionalism because it's the human exceptionalism, where humans, the person with the way that every human thinks that they're exceptional. So they hear a 2% death rate and they don't go, oh, well, I'm in the 98%, obviously I'm not going to be. And you're like, no, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? They think, oh, well, that won't happen to me. Oh, I understand that can happen, but it won't happen to me. I'll avoid it. You're just like, ugh. So I thought that, you know, when you say immune dysregulating, it's immune dysregulating, and you're like, oh, well, that sounds okay. I mean, I guess it's only some people. And you're like, no, that's why all the cancers are on the rise. That's why all the other diseases are on the rise. That's why all this stuff is happening, because your immune system keeps this stuff at bay. I think that line, like with cancer specifically, you get cancer 3 to 5 times in your life, but your immune system destroys it. It's kind of a vague term, but it's really true. It's probably more than that. Stuff forms, your immune system deals with it. And when your immune system can't deal with it, that thing grows into a full-fledged tumor. You know? Your immune system doesn't deal with it, well, now it's in 3 more organs. And just people can't grasp that that's... Okay, but yeah, and I do blame, like, the Western medicine, because we try to sell you everything in a pill. And when I say to people, like, well, you should, to avoid COVID, you should probably do things that boost your innate immune system, and people go, that sounds like fucking wellness grifter stuff. And you're like, well, I'm not selling any products. I'm just letting you know that you want to, you know, figure that out because it's good for you to do. And they're just like, yeah, but that's your immune system. I need like a vaccine or a pill. I'm like, those all use your immune system too. Vaccines only work if you have your immune system, and the pills work in well, some pills and some things work without an immune system, obviously, because that's, you know, the different types of drugs. But for the most part, the ones that really do the thing you want them to do, that are less invasive, do in some way interact with your immune system. And that's when we get into, like, for long COVID, you're like, you need monoclonal antibodies or remdesivir, because that is an artificial immune system. I don't think we've ever really made that connection strong enough. When we talk about infusion antivirals, you're literally infusing a different immune system. Like, even the interleukin thing that Dr. Pat,
yeah,
he's using is Soon Shing? Shing Soon.
Soon Shang.
Soon, okay. I need like a list of words that I write down that just like so I don't mispronounce them embarrassingly. No,
It's okay. I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you, Don. Thank you.
Pat Soon-Shiong
Thank you, Soon-Shiong.
and Activa
But that
BioShield.
Right, yeah. So even that won't work without an immune system because it's just an interleukin. So it tells your immune, if you don't have like white blood cells working functionally, it won't work. I mean, it might to some degree, but it's not going to be as effective. So you're just back to all these things augment or assist or push through, and you should do whatever you can. And I feel like Western medicine has really pushed back on that idea, And like, so people don't realize how important your immune system actually is until you don't have one. And then the problem is, once you don't have one, there's like really no clear way to get it back. My mom actually is one of the few people who totally immune compromised. What was it, 4th shot of Novavax? We charted her immunoglobulin. Well, she charted it, and then I had her, when she showed it to me and showed that her immune system had recovered, I was like, now overlay all your Novavax shots. And she did that. I shared it on Twitter once. And it's crazy how it's like, to the day, like, these changes happened. So, I mean, I just feel like there's just a lot of really important benefits. I think that people think that, like, my interests are financial or something, because I don't know, why do people think that? Because I'm really bad at financial stuff. If anyone would like
projection.
to help me,
It's projection.
because they only do things for money.
There you go.
I don't do anything for money. I should start doing that. Like, nothing I do is, as a matter of fact, most of the things I choose to do seem to only cost me money and hurt my ability to make money. Not, I don't know. I just feel like somebody with financial interest would be doing the game a lot differently, right? Like the people who are like always nice to you and you always agree with, and they're always, that's not real. That person is paid to be there. It's like they're just a different version of service industry. It's like, no, she doesn't like you. She just wants you to tip her. Anyways. So it's the I Can Fix Her for social media. Anyways. I want to thank everyone. We managed to have a consistent call. Kind of getting ready to wrap it up here. We did manage to have a consistent call with no breaks. So hopefully these are calls that usually people listen to and enjoy. If you do enjoy and listen to it, I appreciate that. If you do want to make a donation, you can use my link tree. I don't have anything officially for the show, but everything goes a long way. But yeah, no, it is it's a weird thing that's always following me around, Donna Projection. When I was doing the Bernie stuff and I was trying to convince everybody to do what they're doing now, which was primaries, take over the Democratic Party, stuff that's finally starting to happen. COVID was a bit of a hiccup. But there's a lot of conversations about that now, which is good. Everyone said that I was a fake DNC plant, and I was paid by the DNC to say all this stuff. That was like a real, like, people published articles about me saying that I worked for the DNC. And I'm going to say something. Nothing makes it harder to get a job than when there is a widespread conspiracy theory that you secretly work for an organization like the DNC. Let me tell you, not the best job search environment. Like, well,
that's like getting blacklisted somehow.
Well, no, it's like no. I mean, you're just like, oh, I was trying to look for consulting work at the time, and I'm like, oh, well, doesn't he work for the DNC? And like, no, Don does not work for the DNC. Then why do all these people say Don works for the DNC?
I see.
Because they just think Don works for the DNC. Doesn't the DNC have to like release their documents and who they pay and this stuff? Well, yeah. Is he in it? Well, no. So why the fuck are we having this conversation again? And that was like 4 really hard years where they had this, and it turned out the people exactly the same thing, because the people who put that thing together were paid by neoliberal groups to do what they were doing. So that was a fun little. And then one of them was actually funded by Russia at one point, which was weird that that's true.
And that person was not Tim Pool.
No, that was Nico. That was this guy Nico House, who's kind of still around in fringe left wing sort of stuff.
Okay.
He was always trying to do a news thing, but he worked for RT for a little bit for the Russian Times after he screwed me over. Yeah, he was a part of my, like, so I had like a secret chat we did strategy out of that had like leaders from all over the movement in it, and they would get out and we'd do messaging from there. So it's like, and he was in there, and back in 2017, kind of early on, I think, because it was maybe it was 2018, because it was during Canova's second election. He started like, I don't know how to. He just like, I wasn't in. Don Ford is this day, and he started doing all these videos on me and all this sort of stuff because he wanted to like make Tim Canova and like ride Tim Canova's coattails, and do this whole thing with that. But they didn't realize that Tim Canova did really well in his first election because I was doing all of this fundraising behind the scenes. No one knew because of how I was doing it. I just did it kind of like I did Novavax, where I just promoted the shit out of it everywhere I could, and then drove a bunch of fundraising his direction to a certain point. And so he raised just like Bernie levels of money because I was doing the Bernie fundraising on Facebook before they had to change how Facebook worked after I did what I did. Like they changed how you could post, because you used to be able to just like leave the same comment hundreds of times with no interruption, and I used that for fundraising on all the Bernie posts. And so I drove all this money into Bernie's campaign, and then I just latched on Canova and just tons of money into Canova's campaign, and no one knew where it came from because I wasn't doing it to make money. I was doing it to do it. And so when they screwed me over and like backstabbed me, like straight up Benedict Arnold out of my private chat, acting like he wasn't a part of all these group discussions and that I was a secret plant, and he just like concocted this whole story. It's like interviewing every person I ever interacted with and like feeding them lies to talk shit about me. It was really intense. And that's how he sort of like built up his initial like reporter career, because he got semi-famous during the 2016 for calling out someone in Georgia, I think it was. She was somebody who was working for Bernie's campaign but was also going to work for Hillary's campaign, and she was just kind of like doing a not a very good job. So it looked like she was like a secret Hillary plant, and so he went after her. And then I went all the way to his house to interview him, and I have this interview. I mean, we can watch it. I have clips on the internet you can see, where he refused to then tell me that story when I went to his house, which is really frustrating. And then he used the exact same thing against me, saying that I was a secret DNC plant. And it was in coordination with a group called the People's Party. And they were coordinating.
Oh, I remember them.
Yeah, they were coordinating. They were draft Bernie, and then Bernie didn't want to, so then they became the Movement for a People's Party, and then eventually they became the People's Party. And that was led by a guy who was a straight-up grifter narcissist. And I have some really awkward interactions with him at the People's Summit, where he just acted like a total psychopath. Like, we were setting up a meeting, and then it was going to be me and him and Bernie's son, and I had to, like, give somebody from the Rhodes, like, sweater I had back to them, so I was a little late, and I got there, and he had invited, like, 90 people to be there. So also this room is just, like, flooded with people who all hate my guts, because I was the guys who should take over the party, and they're like, no, we want to start our own party. And you're like, guys, you can't. A party isn't a single party. It's 57 state parties, because you got the 6 territories and then the Democrats abroad, or excuse me, the voters abroad. So in order to be like an effective party, you're not really one national party. You're a whole bunch of littler parties that all work together. And then while I negotiate with superdelegates, they were slandering me and like giving other people the credit for different parts of it to make it seem like every time I would have some success, they would jump on it, like try to like hide it. And then when I did AOC's strategy, they just went straight after her. So a lot of the anti-AOC stuff really, if it's not Republicans, really stems from these third-party groups who are trying to make it seem like the Democratic Party is against you in all cases, which, I mean, kind of hard to completely argue with that a lot of times, but generally speaking, they're trying to push people away from the party because they don't want people getting into it, because they're like, oh, well, you're just going to keep it afloat. You know, guys, it has a +1 quorum system. It doesn't need you to keep afloat. Like, it's a +1 quorum means that you just need a +1 quorum. Like, you don't need anyone there. You just need one person. It'll maintain itself for like ever. So yeah, so that was. I mean, I could make a movie about this shit. I did kind of actually start one. That was a whole bit of drama too, because the fundraising got attacked. It was just such a mess. But a lot of those things still kind of exist. You'll run into people who will say Don Ford is bad news, or Don Ford is this and that, and it's all from this. I mean, I'm not the best news, but it's mostly because I was trying to hold people accountable properly. Like, most of it was based for all the problematic behavior that I may or may not, like 99% of it is just totally made up. Like me cussing somebody out on the internet, that was me. That was me. But like 99% of these stories these people have, it's just completely made up, and nothing to back it up. Just they didn't even get like the shit I actually did that I got away with. I mean, come on, guys. So it's I'm really on a tangent here, but it's an interesting little era of history, because it did go on to have some really important ramifications in elections. It affected the 2020 election. It's still, and I feel like we're only like now coming out of it. The People's Party, when I got out of politics and moved to COVID, I didn't get out of politics, but I stopped doing it like full time in the same circles and networks I was. The People's Party just disappeared. They just kind of vanished. They had some internal struggles. They were creating super delegates. Nothing was really working, and then funding was gone. I was gone. It was like it existed to like be against the take over the party strategy that we were trying to implement. And such a small world, but it had such a big effect on so many things. It's a shame that people are so invested in hurting each other and making sure that things can't get better. Because that's pretty much my takeaway, right? You're constantly trying to like make things better, or like do whatever you can to help people, and everyone is just like, you're doing this for money reasons, you're doing this for that or the other thing. No, I see the opportunity to like make something different, and that would be cool. And I guess people don't think like that. I guess like most people don't think like, oh no, we should just make it better because it'll be better. But how do you make money off of it? No, I don't make any money. It just everything just gets better. That's it.
Eventually, we all reap the benefits of a better system.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of it. Anything you can make better is better. So why wouldn't you make it better?
You mean those other people that aren't like me would benefit too? Ew.
Oh boy. Yeah, there's a conversation right there. Yeah, it was a rough time in my life. I could tell a lot of stories. Most of it's all on Facebook. So like the posts exist and the stuff is there, and then yeah. And I never cussed. The whole time I did because I'm kind of a bit of a potty mouth now on Twitter. Just like, go fuck yourself. Because that's where we are. But when we did the Bernie movement, it was like no cussing, no language, nothing. It was like you were doing everything with Bernie watching.
Trying to be proper.
Yeah, no, the whole time. The whole time. No cussing. The whole time I did live streams, I did hundreds of live streams. No foul language at all. It was a very dark period in my life.
Suppressing all that cussing.
I feel so fucking good to be myself. No, I was myself then. I feel like I don't feel like I was like, a lot of people were always putting on me like I was some fake character or doing whatever. And there were times when I did character stuff, like when I was promoting AOC, I did like some straight up simp videos to get people to pay attention to her, like right around that time. Because I just didn't know what I was going to talk about, and I just wanted to say something, how great she was. Because I just needed people to focus on her. It didn't matter if it was true necessarily. It was true. It made it easy. It's easier when it's true. But yeah, it just needed people's eyes on her, and because nobody was paying attention to her until like the last minute. That was like the whole reason that election worked. So I don't know. It's a crazy time. It was, we were super influential, but then at the same time, it was like I was running around changing things, like really significant changes. And there were like several groups of people behind me, like covering my tracks, like everywhere I went. So it was like I would do this thing, and then they would be like, "No, you didn't," and they would be like, "Oh, it was this other thing," and they'd create this like story because for them, it was we were in a zero-sum system, right? We talk about things like IgG1 and IgG4; they're in zero-sum systems, so there's a limited amount of IgG that could be in that position. So you're going to have some complication. Well, with them in the Bernie movement, they didn't see the Bernie movement as like a growing thing. They saw the Bernie movement as like a set number of people that they wanted to exploit. And so they were constantly trying to sway people's opinions because they didn't actually have to be successful. They just had to make people not like me. Like, that was all they had to do. All they had to do was convince people that I wasn't doing whatever I said I was doing and make people not like me and make me this dishonest character, because the whole point was I was organizing people or trying to organize people to create change that they did not want to have happen. And so they were trying to prevent that change. And at the time, it seems like they're trying to create their own change, but they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're morons. They didn't know what the hell they didn't understand how the government works or how the policy changes or how the party was structured. And that's why I ran my show to explain it to them. You know, I ran that show to explain to these people exactly how it's called a Critical Report with Don Ford. And I ran that to explain that to all those people. It was video, live stream, the whole thing. And they hadn't been. I have done videos. I stopped doing videos because of COVID, and long COVID really screwed me up. And I'm only now getting back to a place where I feel like maybe that's a possibility. You don't need, like, the bad people don't need their plans to work. They just have to prevent the good people's plans from working. And all they have to do that is water down support, however that is. And so when you're doing, like, these things, like, we got Novavax approved, like, as a long COVID treatment 3 years ago in 2023. That sounds made up. That sounds like, that doesn't sound real. You know what I mean? These people have not supported or endorsed it. But that happened. Every single person who's on this call with me right now was part of it. Well, Biff wasn't here yet, but, you know, in spirit, friend. And so it's just kind of... it's disappointing that people are more invested in these, like... And they'll always fall for it, these petty differences, rather than, like, seeing the big picture. They only see, like, the small moment-to-moment. Like, even when I complain about influencers that people like, yeah, I'm doing it because I'm trying to protect you from them. And, like, I would say, like, 60% of the time I've been correct, maybe 70% of the time I've been pretty right, that these people who have called out have then gone on to have other issues, other problems, other, you know, minimizing things. You know, we didn't say those things because, you know, we wanted to, said them because they were necessary. You gotta, like, draw a line on certain things. But then again, it doesn't seem like people want to prevent that. It seems like people are more interested in, like, letting the bad things happen and then learning absolutely nothing from it. That seems to be the way of things. So on that super upbeat note, I think we're done here. I'll tell more stories about the Bernie era another time, but it does feel like it's interesting for me, from my perspective, when I think about how creating change effectively in both periods of my life, it's like on a massive scale, has really taught me that it doesn't matter what I do in reference to, like, if I'm talking shit or not talking shit, because during the Bernie movement I didn't really talk in, like, shit the way I talk shit since COVID has been a problem. It didn't matter, because people just make things up. They'll just make things up anyways. You're going to run into people who are resentful. They want to be in that position. They want other people to talk about them that way. They think that it's, you know, a competition. And there will always be people trying to knock you down. And then people suffer. I mean, people suffer a lot because, you know, think about the people with long COVID. Here we are being like, here's a great way to protect yourself from COVID and maybe help with your long COVID. We got it set up for you to be able to do this. And people are like, no, that doesn't work. No, that's not the thing. Have you tried it? They're like, no, I haven't, but I know, blah, blah, blah. And that whole chain, that's a chain of suffering. That's all suffering. Those people are suffering. All those people that they won't share those solutions with, all those people that they hide, you know, things that happen. Even when it comes to, like, the superdelegate reform and how we did it, I did it really over several years, and like how it went down. I did it in front of everybody, and everyone saw me do it. And then at the end of the day, they were trying to be like, no, it was this other person who held a camera. And just at the end of the day, like, the bad people are always going to do bad things. It doesn't matter if you do good work. The bad people are just going to do bad things with it. I don't know. I think I'm done here. Anybody want to say anything?
Well, speaking of bad people and good people, I guess the people
one more Iran or on the way out.
Adjacent. The education agency within the UN, UNESCO, they put out a statement about the bombing of that school, saying that it constitutes a grave violation of international humanitarian law. So that's a group making a comment on it that's on point.
Yeah, I just like to see something happen with the UN. I mean, they've just been such a bunch of like... You know what this moment calls for? Another sternly worded letter. You know? It's like, how many sternly worded letters can we do? Okay. All right.
Well, we've got that thing kind of cornered, but that's another story. The UN, that is.
Oh,
The U.S. has the UN kind of cornered.
Yeah, great. Just what we need.
But international voices saying the right things are good.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. They bombed 2 schools. Like, just hello. Oh man, I wish that was like a more straightforward problem. For like, there should be like, how many people have a problem with it? It should be 100%. You know what I mean? It should be 100% of people are against 2 schools of 150, young girls just being killed instantly like that. Like, what did they do?
Nothing.
Did they attack Israel? Okay, that's it. Anyways, thank you everyone for being here. We will be back. We're Mondays and Thursdays. I appreciate everyone who's doing it on the live call and listening into stuff. We do have a Discord. Of course, Discord's... We're losing people lately because people are quitting Discord because of the whole Discord drama. But it's kind of just a chill place. Let people vent and get that information out there. It's all. I don't have anything else. I'm about to lose connection, so let's get out of here before it drops. All right, everyone, have a good night. We will see you on the next show.